Hey guys, it's Babs with Listen to Your Inner You. I can't talk, that's a great start. Listen to Your Inner You. My website is listentoyourinneryou.com. You can actually book sessions on there. I put my calendar back up, and I have 1 hour sessions and half-hour sessions. I do prefer that you've already had at least one session with me before you book half-hour sessions. They're kind of like a follow-up. So as a newbie, please do the 1 hour. I know it's pricey, but it's worth it. Ask any of my clients. But it's a lot more time to actually dig through something than the half hour. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for watching my channel. I'm makeup-less today because I didn't feel like it. Anyway, I wanted to talk about what does it feel like when we go through old energy. If you haven't figured it out yet, it sucks. So here you go. You're affirming or visualizing or doing your gratitudations, which I started making up a new word. Where you kind of turn an affirmation into gratitude, like, I love when he texts me all the time, right? But you're going along and everything looks okay, not seeing any movement, but you're feeling okay, right? And then suddenly everything goes in the opposite direction. This happens most commonly with any kind of belief or story you do. You always get old energy. You'll have to go through it because you're wiping it out, you're purging it, you're detoxing, whatever you want to call it. But you have to go through it, right? It's part of it. And everything suddenly goes awry. And you're like, what the fuck? Usually my first thought is, what the fuck is happening? This is the opposite of what I have been affirming. Well, congratulations. You just had old energy. There you go. You had old energy, and that is your ultimate proof that you are doing it right, because you have to go through it in order to get what you want, right? I usually notice it very strongly when you do any sort of belief. When you're working on your core beliefs or any major belief, you notice it the worst. It is rough. It can be rough because emotionally you're all over the place for a couple of weeks. And it can suck, and it brings up trauma and clarity and lots of emotions you have to process, right? But at the end, you come out 10 times better, or 20 times, or 100 times better, right? But anyway, what does old energy feel like? First of all, it feels like, what the fuck? It feels like you're going in the opposite direction. It feels like all this bad shit is happening. It feels like everything gets taken away from you that you've been working so hard for, right? It feels like you're definitely not good enough or worthy or deserving or whatever affirmation or belief you're working on. It makes you feel the opposite. And it usually feels pretty shitty. You're emotionally all over the place for a while. Sometimes you'll start getting better days and then you get shittier days. But over time, you'll start noticing, and I've been journaling very detailed how this one goes down. But over time, you start getting a lot more good days, where in those good days, you start getting good feedback, aka reflections, aka pushed outs, even maybe some manifestations that you didn't expect. And then you get some really bad days. But the bad days, get shorter, and the work through time through those bad days gets shorter and shorter. And then the intensity of the bad days gets less bad over time. It is very interesting to watch if you actually pay attention and journal about it. And then you get more good days and less bad days, shorter bad days, shorter intense, less intense bad days, and more good days and more good pushed outs and more manifestations. And eventually it starts fading out so much that you don't notice any triggers anymore. You're like, okay. And then eventually you go, wow, that would have triggered me 2 weeks ago. I must be done with old energy. That's what old energy feels like, but it's all over the place. Emotionally, you're going to be all over the place. Remind yourself this is old energy. Every time something happens that triggers you, remind yourself this is old energy and do your affirmations for what you've been affirming for. Stick to those. Assume that everything that is off, everything that goes wrong during old energy is specifically about these affirmations. Don't try to change any stories, because every story, and you want to just keep going. So don't worry about changing any stories when you're going through old energy for any affirmation. For any story, any belief you're changing, assume that everything that is off in old energy is specifically about those affirmations. So use the affirmations. If you're doing multiple, do all of them. If you've only been affirming one thing, like my SP loves me or whatever, keep doing that one. Whatever you've been affirming for, before the old energy, affirm even stronger and more diligently now. And don't worry about changing any other story other than what you have been working on. I'm saying this as often as I can because this is the most asked question. I have one client who said, I think I have a belief that my SP is trying to make me jealous, and other people are trying to make me jealous. And like, no, this is part of your pattern. I told her so many times, but she just has to realize this herself. You're going through this. I can guide you, I can help you, but you're going to have to make it through this on your own. Yeah, I did, you did. And I tentatively, usually when I work through a pattern, I kind of pull back from all my friends and just work through it because I already get so many triggers, and then they trigger me, and then my SP triggers me, and then everything triggers me, and my mind alone triggers me. If no one is around me, my mind does a really damn good job in triggering me anyway. I don't need anything. I could just lay on the couch for 8 hours and be triggered nonstop by my mind without doing anything. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The TV could be triggering you. The leaf falling off the tree landing on your glass could be triggering you. The other day I was blow drying my hair with a round brush, and this one stupid strand kept coming out, and I screamed at it. Oh my God. I just went off on that stupid strand, like, you stay in there. It's ridiculous. I totally react to all of my old energy because over time it fades out and fades out. As long as I do my affirmations, I allow myself to react however I want to react, because over time it fades out so much that I don't have to worry about not reacting to it now, because if I swallow all the emotions that come up with all the triggers, then I'm just bottling this up. And these emotions need to come out because this is old trauma. This is all old beliefs and stories that have been there for a while. And they need to come out. I need to let it out. Let the emotions out. Let everything out that comes out, right? Do it. Let it all out. It teaches you how to handle your emotions. It teaches you how to accept your emotions. It teaches you how to process trauma, any sort of trauma, right? And it makes you. It develops you into a different person that is more able to do things that you're supposed to be doing and on an everyday basis. So let it all out. And I react to everything because over time I start reacting less and less and less, and eventually I don't react to it at all anymore. And then I know I'm done with the old energy. But yeah, old energy can suck. It sucks pretty bad sometimes, depending on what you're working on. But just keep doing your affirmations, work on that. And, it'll fade out, it'll wear off, and then you're done with it, and you never have to change that belief again because it takes a lot of work to put those in there, and I think they just developed over time. Core beliefs have probably been there since we were born, and then the core beliefs create a lot of other shitty beliefs over time. So yeah, it just doesn't feel great, and you're emotionally all over the place. But when you're working on affirmations and then you hit old energy, don't worry about changing actual stories. Just work on that old energy. Just do the affirmations that got you into this specific old energy. Don't worry about any other beliefs or stories that come up because everything might be related to that. Once you're done with old energy and then you see, hey, there's still this belief in place or this pattern in place, then you deal with that one, right? Do one thing at a time. I've had beliefs come up after 2 years after I changed my core beliefs, and I found 2 other core beliefs. I'm like, it takes time to figure all this out. You're sifting through it, right? So don't worry about changing stories. Just worry about the affirmations that got you into the old energy, and keep doing these affirmations and get through this old energy, and then worry about whatever is left over. Good luck.